You're listening to the Biohackers World Podcast.
Hi, I'm Tess Cheng, a health and wellness coach. We are recording live at the Biohackers World Conference in Miami. Here with me is Mr. Clayton Thomas, a world-renowned expert with 25 years of experience in detoxification, cellular health, and environmental wellness. Mr. Thomas is a co-founder of Root Brands, a company in helping us understand how the body can function at its best. Welcome, Mr. Thomas.
Tess, thanks for having me. Let's get in it.
Yeah. So tell me, how does your company help us help the body function at its best naturally and safely?
So far, from what I've found in the last decade, having the brain of really the health and wellness space is only true nanotechnologist and bioscience engineer, being able to take the best of nature and literally program and code what nature's created in order to assist in the body's mechanisms to do what we're created to be, which is to become great. And so foundationally addressing the support for systemic detoxification, but then supporting gut health in multiple aspects, allowing a leaky gut to heal, regenerate, then feed the gut what it needs to produce endogenous dopamine and serotonin, which feeds your vagus nerve and your heart and your pineal gland and your brain to get those key neurotransmitters that are needed for every aspect of performance and function and sleep. And then feeding the body the rest of the components it needs to perform at a level that we've actually not seen before. But then having the clinical case studies and data, as well as published outcomes and intellectual property and patents filed around the benefits in specific disease states and supporting studies. So we've got proof.
Yes, I can see that. And very often you talk about how important prevention is, and cellular, a clean cell is really important with that, with that process. Why does that play a critical? Why is that a critical foundation for metabolic health?
We've been taught simple principles ever since we were children. Right, I can remember being a kid and my mom telling me and teaching me to clean my room. Right, and if you don't, you're going to have issues. If you don't take care of your house and you don't clean your house and you don't take out the trash, you're eventually going to have a pestilence problem. You're going to have mice. You're going to have rats. You're going to have cockroaches. Right, so in understanding that you actually don't have a cockroach problem, you have a terrain problem. Your environment is completely polluted and is conducive for that environment. So the principles are really simple. The proof was published 50 plus years ago, right? So in our world today, where we're so data driven, but we look at what's current, we fail to look at the past, where literally the proof is in the pudding. So if we look at other cultures, if you look at Ayurvedic medicine, and if you look at the Eastern philosophy and Chinese medicine, the data that they have only goes back 3,000 to 5,000 years. Maybe they have some evidence of benefits of the approaches that they're using, but we've lost the ability to understand truth in the United States by the manipulation of trust and marketing and advertising and the desire to just sell products from a promo standpoint. And the truth is, the bottom line is, we're polluted from the time we're conceived. Every health issue that we have can be traced back to Mercury and its impact on the biome, the microbiome, the entire biosphere, and its impact, but also the amplification of negative effects of other environmental toxins and pollutants, and then how they create a negative environment that is conducive for the overgrowth of mold and fungus, which allows for the overgrowth of bacteria and parasites. So while it might be nouveau to talk about parasitology and what can freak people out because it's scary, if you understand that the issue just goes back to understanding that first you have to clean house. But then when you also understand that we are not the physical mechanism that we've been taught, that we are a biological quantum computing system that has the ability to assimilate information in a manner that most people don't comprehend, that we are literally frequency and energetic beings, right? And that you can program in accordance. You don't need to work through digestion, you work through programming. And you can see that in virology, you can see that in different aspects of how the body's actually working, that quantum computing is actually what we're doing, but physics and quantum physics are not something that you're typically taught. You know and you practice them. So it's taking the application and putting it into use and watching the outcomes, but then tracking the outcomes and knowing that you can have real data that then you can prove and validate. So we're at this point where data is the number one asset, especially in our country. But you can use it properly and show what real outcomes are. And then you see truth. Yeah.
Yes, very interesting, yes. So for someone who wants to improve his or her health, is just starting, what are some of the basic things you suggest? If someone says, I want to start detoxing or do something, what would you suggest?
The first thing you have to do is, and I'll say this not because I own the company, but because the data supports it, and we already have the clinical case studies, even the patents filed for the reversal of autism and ADHD and a whole host of other disease states because of the mechanisms and outcomes. The first thing you need to do is start with, I would say, clean slate and zero in. Clean slate uses a process to take nature's most powerful crystal, this amazing little crystal called clinoptilolite, that is fracked, cleaned, and amplified, that takes its most powerful components and allows for the binding and removal of those environmental toxins, but the delivery of the bioavailable silica and trace minerals that are necessary to support the body in upgrading, the same way you upgrade microchips, right? And why Silicon Valley has its name. So you need to take a component that's going to start cleaning up, but also rebooting and amplifying. So it's like shutting down your phone or your laptop and allowing it to reboot and then doing a software update constantly. And then if to support that simply, you've got to give the gut, the engine, the gasoline it needs to produce the neurotransmitters that your brain needs to function. And that's what Zero N does, is it feeds the gut what it needs to produce natural, endogenously produced dopamine and serotonin and a little norepinephrine. So instead of seeking, right, whether it's video games or porn or these external stimuli or social media and all these other distractions that we get, you have the natural, endogenously produced mechanisms that you can to function at the way that you're intended.
Yes, yeah. So it's really starting really from the basic level.
Yeah, I mean you gotta start from the ground up, right? If we're gonna rebuild a house or a condo, and the place is on fire, you don't try to remodel the kitchen while it's still burning. You got to put the fire out. You got to start cleaning up, and then you can build. And usually you have enough experience and you know the things you like, so you're not going to do it the old way. You're going to make it better the second time.
Yeah, yeah. And then you feel it yourself too, what you're doing right somehow, intuitively.
Well, and intuition is something that's really, really important. Women have more of it than men, right? To trust your gut. But the other side of the equation is if your gut is all screwed up, are you getting the right signaling and are you making the right decisions based on how your gut feels? So they say happy wife, happy life. Well, a happy gut is going to create the happy environment that allows you to feel the way that you're supposed to. And then your intuition is going to become more online. And that also comes from those neurotransmitters, because if your gut has a feeling, it's going to tell your brain really quickly, hey, it's this. But if you're not in touch and in tune, you might be making poor decisions, because then you're having other things communicate that are not necessary.
I'll remember that. Happy gut, happy life. Thank you, Clayton Thomas.
Come join us at Biohackers World in 2026, coming to an area near you.